I want you to tell a little bit about yourself and your upbringing. What brought you to like your whole story, to your NFL story, and where you are today.
Yeah. All right. How much time you got?
Yeah.
It usually becomes this long story, but I'll give you the in depth part of it without going too deep to where it takes too much time for people. But my whole life started at 3 years old, being put in foster care by my mom, which was kind of at the time it was horrible. And I still look at it as a negative thing, but it kickstarted a life of more ups and downs that I really didn't want to experience, but I had to. I'm going to sit here because this way I can talk about the wind bothering me. But essentially what happened was I got put in foster care, and for about 3 years, I experienced a lot of craziness. So, like being forced to like chase chickens for food, so like being starved, I couldn't catch the chickens, or being beaten or being tortured. There's a lot of like horrible things. And at 6 years old, I was put into a home, which is my home now, but it was the only difference is really, really poor. I was the only black kid in an all-white family, so I had that like that whole difference of racial issues, and so like even the area I was at wasn't very diverse. So I had a lot of stuff happen at school, really bad at school. I had my biological mom who wasn't a present mom, but she was kind of always there, so she kind of messed with my head for many years. I couldn't play sports, couldn't do a lot of stuff. Eventually got adopted at 14. I got to play football, which opened up a massive door for me, but I really sucked at it at first, but I loved it because it was the first sense of me having like a self-worth, like feeling like I wasn't worth anything to the world. My adoptive mom came down with multiple sclerosis when I was about the same age, 14, 15. I ended up getting a football scholarship at University of Oregon, which was amazing. I went up there, had a son my sophomore year of college, which most people don't do. I met my dad, my biological dad, my very first college start my sophomore year. Progressed on to marry my high school sweetheart. I ended up getting out of the NFL, or actually out of college and going into the NFL. The NFL was a whole bunch of ups and downs and nuts of stuff. And then I got to the point where I tore my shoulder. And then my career came home, and I opened a gym because I have my degree in kinesiology. I love sports, so I figured I'm going to open a training facility to kind of keep around the game that I love so much. And I did that for many years, about 6 years. Had a lot of ups and downs. A couple times almost lost it. There's a time when I owed the landlord $16,000. I had $4,000 to pay. I had 2 weeks to pay it, or they were going to evict me. And I figured it out. And so I progressed past that. I ended up, literally traveling the world and speaking on fitness. I now consult for a multi-billion-dollar company, a power company, a year in California. I do online coaching for people, just like life stuff. During that whole time, I had 2 more kids. I had my twins. I had now 3 kids. I was, married, and then my wife had an affair, and that shook my world because for me, having been through foster care, like family is huge to me. And so in that capacity, like it really took a bite out of my heart. And so there was a point in time when like I drove off looking for rat poison to take my life. And in a roundabout way, I came back, obviously, and I'm still here. But it was kind of an eye opener for life and who I am. And then last year, after running the gym and really wanting to pursue helping more people, because the gym I was in, it's great. It's about 10,000 square feet. It was training a lot of professional athletes, like doing a really cool thing. But it really wasn't speaking to my heart. Like I wanted to share more with people. So as I'm traveling, talking about fitness, I find myself talking more about life and everything. So last year, my mom actually finally passed of multiple sclerosis, and I say finally, it's I love my mom to death, but she was in pain, and it was hard to watch her be in that kind of pain for so long. So it's more like she's at peace. Like I'm happy that she's at peace, but it kind of got me to a point of realizing like I really need to step out and help more people with like an unconditional love in the same capacity that she showed to me while I was being raised by her. And so now I have ventured into a whole world I don't know. Last August, less than a year ago, I decided to close a gym that made me good money, and I was had a good kind of clout in because it just didn't speak to my heart. And so I started a company called Trust Your Hustle, which is what it sounds like. It's essentially trust like your ability to do something. There's a whole concept around what trust your hustle means, but really the end result is use a framework or a structure I create, which is called Trust Your Hustle, to live an unexpected life. And I do it in a sense of saying like my life is unexpected. Like if I was to tell you what I've done based on what I've been through, it's unexpected for me to do this. And it's not something where I'm like, look at me, but it's like, if I can do this, literally you can do it too. And it's I don't want to walk into a room and tell you that. I want to show you how. I want to give you steps and tools and things that I've looked at myself or I've researched, which I spend a ton of time on interview calls. I spend a ton of time reading, researching, looking at other people's things to find out how to not just be another black guy on a stage yelling at you to motivate you, but a guy that can actually step in and motivate you, but then give you a direction to take that energy, right? Like step-by-step tools. And so that's what puts me, I guess, in front of you now.
Awesome. If I can ask you a little bit about your NFL time, how long were you in the NFL? What teams were you playing for, and what kind of effect did it have on your life?
I was the Buccaneers, the Redskins, and the Steelers, and the effect it had was it showed me the world. We sit in our societies. You may have a job in one town, and you commute to another town, but all you know is your job, or all you know is your town, and it's your good little bubble there. Like you don't have to experience different societal ways of how they do things, or culture, or stigmas that people have. Because if you go to California, different stigma than in Alabama, right? So a lot of people, they don't step out of the bounds. So it taught me to see the world differently. Not, I would say, for what the world is, but for what the world harbors and carries for different people. And so that and it gives you a chance to see it as cutthroat. I mean, it is the most cutthroat game and job in the world, because there are guys that are supposed to be my teammates trying to make me look bad so that they can have their family eat. But I get it. And so in that capacity, it taught me, I wouldn't say a sense of, like, I never would get over. I'm very humble, honest. Like, I'm real big on ethics and morals and who you are. So I never get over on people, but I comprehend how hard you have to work to get a leg up. And you have to do it hard. You have to work hard to be an ethical person and also do it. So it taught me that I have to work. Like, nothing's going to be handed to me. And then I respect the work. I'm not a person that, like, I'm trying to find the easiest way. Like, I'm going to do it, but I respect the work I have to do, because if I respect it, I take it serious and I do it well.
Yeah, exactly. So when did like health and fitness become so important to you? Was it at an early age, or did it come later on when you were like 14 when you started football, or was it before that?
Health and fitness wasn't big. That wasn't big until I got out of the NFL. For me, it was just what you did. What was big to me was sports. Sports, it taught me to stay out of trouble. It gave me a driving force. It gave me a carrot to chase. Health and fitness was when I got out of it, and I was like, well, how do I make this a career? And so that was kind of reconfiguring what I've known. Because honestly, NFL players, professional athletes, period, when you get done with your sport, you have an amazing set of skills that are worthless. I mean, almost always worthless, unless you go back into sports, unless you find a way to apply them to something else you do. And so in that capacity, health and fitness was where I could apply what I'd learned to that now, which was my tenacity, my brain, my experience, and just how I compete. And so the competing wasn't on the grass anymore. My competing was with the rest of my competition in the community. Like, so in a sense, health and fitness got big when I got that, but also because when I got done with the NFL, I didn't really realize why I was working out anymore. So I gained some unhealthy weight. And then when I got to the point of realizing, like, I had high blood pressure and, I didn't feel good. Like, I was groggy. I'm like, I have never felt like this in my life. So I've got to look at how can I have a regimen or something I do that doesn't drain my soul because I have to do it, but something I enjoy doing because I feel good working out. And if I can enjoy what I do to work out and then enjoy the feeling of it later, it's perfect.
Awesome. So you talked a little bit about your like past and how it's been a little bit tough. If there's like some people out there that are struggling and that they want to have like a positive outlook on life, but they're struggling doing that, where would you start? Like, what did you start with?
Well, there's a difference. What did I start with, and what do I have people start with? Are two different things.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a fluke, man. I don't belong doing what I'm doing because nobody helped me, and most people need someone to help.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm good at what I do. Is I try to figure that out. Like, I try to figure it out. And the biggest thing I had to do is I have to. I like myself a lot. Now, it's not that I'm saying like I'm cocky by any means, but I like myself so much that I don't want to let myself down. And so a lot of people, that I would say, they don't like themselves. And what I mean they don't like, they don't hate themselves, but they don't like how they're not able to stick to a goal. They don't like how they're not able to lose weight. They don't like how they're not able to get their goals reached. They don't like they have to do a job, right? So they're not too happy with this person. So because they're not happy with them, they don't mind letting them down. And for me, like I never want to let myself down because I like myself too much to make myself feel bad. And so the first step is to realize that people are worthy of having great things. Some people punish themselves. It's weird, but like they'll like be masochistic and, well, I don't deserve to have that. No, I've messed up. I don't deserve to have a good relationship. I don't deserve to have. And there are people who have had 10 times worse things in life happen and still come out great. So if yours has happened, there's help for you. Like, you're okay. But the first thing to realize is there's no scale of good enough or too bad or whatever it is. But you got to get to the point where you let yourself, like, forgive yourself for the things you've done or things you haven't completed and not done. And then like yourself enough to not want to let yourself down. And then I have steps I really grow through. The first thing is to have a big reason why. You ever heard of, like, know your why? You ever heard of that? Like,
Yeah.
I hate it, just to be honest. Not that I hate it, but I hate how cliche it is. Because if I ask you what's your why, you'd be like, oh, it's to da-da-da. You'll spit something out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But that reason is not going to push you past the headaches. It's not going to push you past the crappy parts of life. The real one that'll push you past the crappy parts of life is the one that is so deep that it's embarrassing to share out in public.
Yeah.
So I ask you what's your why, and you say it quick, it's not the right one. But if you're like, well, and then maybe you tell me, that's the one.
Yeah.
And you find that reason why, you start putting work in. And the more work you put in, the farther things can progress forward through your life. Because a lot of it, like a lot of people want to get things done, right? They'll get a plan and they'll work forwards. And there's two sides of the plan. One side is, I have a plan and I'm going to work it through. But I don't know why I'm doing it, so I'm going to falter. Or the other thing is, well, the plan's not perfect, so I don't know if I should put perfect effort into it. And so for me, I tell them the plan's not perfect. Just, it's not. It's going to fail. It's going to fail. They're like, what do you mean? I say it's supposed to fail. It's how. I mean, if I told you I'm going to do something, I guarantee you. I said I'm going to walk to my car. I'm going to get to the street, and the car's going to pass by. I have to wait. So like there's something that happens, but it's not that it's the only way to do it. There's two ways to skin a cat, or more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. And so the reality is, if you find that thing that you can push you past, get this effort applied, you got to find a plan that seems good enough, and then start working it, and then realize in advance, plan in advance that at some point it's gonna mess up. But because I have my deep-rooted, like, embarrassing reason, I'm gonna keep pushing. The more you push forwards, the more you have an opportunity to overcome. You build this trust in yourself because, hey, I can succeed at these things. You build that trust, and what trust is it's a big underlying factor for belief. If I don't trust something, I can't believe it. Once I have this belief is going to build to a faith, because belief is like, oh, I believe it, but belief can be shaken. But if I got a faith, like if I have faith in myself, like I'm going to run through a building. Like I have faith in my abilities so much that I know if you tell me, hey, I can't do that, like I'll go do it. Or if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to find a way. But that only comes from having a good enough reason to keep pushing past the headaches. Once you push past, you get some success, you build some trust, you build some belief, you have a faith.
Awesome. In your opinion, who is someone who is great? What do you have to do to be great?
Oh man, there's no level of great. That's the funny part. Everybody's like, oh, Michael Jordan's great. No, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan's version of great, or people who have the same scale. I find that there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, the guy who's out raking leaves or mowing lawns, like he's not being great. But what if that's his version of great? Like, what if that's what he wants to be great at? There's nothing wrong with it, right? I say everybody can be great, but not everybody can be great. We have to have people that do these different jobs that I don't want to do, right? But it doesn't mean they're not great. They could be great fathers, great workers, great coworkers, great friends. Like, they could be these amazing people. So I don't know if I would say anybody's great, but people who are their own versions of great are guys like Michael Jordan, guys who are like Tony Robbins, who are their own version of great. And so whatever they choose to be, they're living that and they're doing it. I falter when I hear people tell me I want to do this, and they want to do it for a year and never do it. That's where I'm like, I don't really appreciate that person, because they know the level of great, but they're not going after it.
And how important do you think it is to reach greatness or achieve or be in search of greatness? Because there's a lot of people that just want to like live the 9 to 5 and just how important do you think it is to just be the best you can be?
I tell people you are someone to someone. So there's someone in this world. It could be a mother, a brother, a sister, daughter, right? Someone looks up to you. It could be a person who's older looking up to you. And so in that capacity, like, think about it. Like, you look up to someone. I don't know who it is, but we all do, right? what you got to think, what if that person you looked up to wasn't being great? Like, how much would that hurt your heart? So realize that you are that same person for somebody else.
Mm.
And so it's almost like, in my mind, it's an obligation to be great now. Again, you don't got to be that person's version of great or the world's version of great. Be your version of great, and they will see that. They'll respect that, and it allows them to have the freedom and clearance to do it themselves.
Awesome. So, who are your inspirations? Because you're probably an inspiration to a lot of people. So, who are your inspirations?
I hate this question. I don't. Everybody always asks me, like, who's your hero? I've never had an answer for it. Want to know, honestly, my inspiration is right. Like, what's right?
Mm.
Now, I say that because a lot of people don't do what's right because right is hard.
Mm.
I teach my son. I say, at the end of the day, I have a tattoo on my arm, and he says, "Dad, what's that tattoo of?" I say, it's a man as a mountain. He's looking at a mountain. It's a man as a mountain. It says, "Story of my life." And my son says, "What does that mean?" And I said, "It's a man as a mountain to climb to get to heaven."
Mm.
And what essentially, it's like things that are easy usually aren't right. Let's just be honest. Things that are right, decisions to make, the way to treat somebody, it's usually hard. And so my inspiration is saying, okay, when I get to that point where in my gut I feel like it's going to be tough to be honest with somebody, or it's going to be hard to do the extra mile that I told myself I was going to do, or it's going to be hard to give that person their money back in my business, right? It's right, though. It's the right thing to do. And so if I put my focus and inspiration on do what's right, even if it doesn't feel good, it drives me to do better things, treat people better. And I find that if you put that out, it comes back to you also. But if you don't, if I was to put other things in place of it, life wouldn't be what it is.
Mm. So, on a totally different topic, what would you say is your optimal morning routine?
Optimal, or what I really do every day?
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah. In your mind, what is the optimal routine?
Well, it's up this way. When I'm in if I could say what I want to do, and I've done this for long periods of time, but I can't be consistent. Like, I woke up this morning in San Diego at 6 in the morning. Like, I can't have the same routine, right? But the best routine that I found is get up and do something early. Now, people hate doing it, but it really is like you have that golden time in the morning when nobody's calling you. The phone's not ringing, obviously, so you don't have to worry about, like, I don't know, anything going on outside. Like, it's just like your own peaceful time. Now, some people say, get up and exercise for 20 minutes, then read for 20 minutes. Then, like, damn that. Like, you ain't doing that. So for me, like, my optimal routine is I realize the first thing when I wake up in the morning, like, it's a struggle to go brush my teeth, like, because the light hurts my eyes. So it's just dumb, but like, I'll get up and go brush my teeth, and I go down and start like some hot water boiling for some tea. While the hot water's boiling, I'll just go and sit like on my carpet and stretch out. It sounds weird, but I sit there and stretch till I hear the thing whistle. When it whistles, I go and I pour my tea out, and then I'll either get a book or I'll listen, like I'll pop a video on, something I can watch for like 15, 20 minutes, because now I'm loose, the green tea's get my body going, my brain's turning on. And then from there, I'll meditate. Now, the only reason I meditate, it's not like the woo-woo, like I sit with my fingers crossed and I'm like staring at the sun and like blinking my eyes, I'm not. But what I mean by meditate is I just shut my brain off. Because a lot of people, all of us, we don't gift ourselves with the time of just being awake but disconnected. Like, just to be awake and not have your brain checking Facebook or reading or talking to somebody or writing an email, right? We're here, and this never rests. And because it never rests, and you think like when you're sleeping, you're not resting, you're still dreaming, so your brain's still going. But it's whenever you wake up, to be awake for like a good 10, 15 minutes and just shut it all down. It makes like my soul comes alive. It sounds weird, but like I'm awake and I'm alive and I'm happy and I'm joyous. And even if bad things happen, it's like, it's all right. All still good in the world. So optimal morning routine, I get up, brush my teeth, start some tea, stretch out. Once I'm all stretched out, read something, and then just cut it all off. And then I go and pop like earphones in, do a meditation with some simple music or whatever, and then my day goes.
Awesome. Yeah, okay, so if you could only leave 3 books to your kids behind to inspire them to do great, which ones would it be?
One would be Trust Your Hustle, A Life Forged by Fire, which is my book.
Awesome.
And I would say, I don't say it to plug anything, but I say it because I want my kids to know who I am. I want my grandkids to know who their grandfather was. Like, that's a big thing for me, to know their lineage. The second book would probably be Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I love the book because if you really take the information to heart, it has all the tools you need to be like a good person, not a successful business person, but just a good person. Third book, it's a few, man. I would say Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's a good one because it's basically a book about him in his concentration camps, but being in the middle of it, being introspective. But when he's done with the book, the back chapters, it's about like psychology and us as people, how we operate, how we see the world, like our search for meaning, existential vacuum, like seeing where your purpose is. So I essentially say my kids would know who I am, they understand what it means to have a meaningful life, and then they have the tools and the habits to apply it to their life.
Awesome. So where can people follow you and learn more about you and learn more about what you do?
AnthonyTrucks.com.
Okay.
Straightforward, man. I'm a simple guy. I do these things every night called Nightly 90s. If you go to Facebook.com/Anthony Trucks, I put videos out every day. And every Wednesday I do this training I do called the Hump Day Hustle. But I like to share my life, man, in the capacity of people can see I'm an actual, genuine person as opposed to some guy just trying to sell them products all day, which a lot of people do. And I do sell stuff, but I only sell stuff that honestly I've spent 8 months right now developing one product. 8 months.
Wow.
I don't like, I'm going to make this and give it to the market. Like when I put it out, it's going to be something where like it's so good that I can sleep at night knowing I've taken not a single dollar without feeling great about it.
Well, that's great. So I'll put it up in the show notes below, all the links to your sites and stuff. And I want to thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us today and sharing your story.
Very welcome, man. Appreciate having me on.